The scope of the US shale revolution may be set to expand, but how might this affect the price of LNG? Thierry Bros tells us more. So Thierry, thank you for joining us today. If we just rewind a little bit, can you give us a broad view of what happened to the European gas markets in 2015, please?
Yes, hi Monica. The major news was perhaps some recovery in gas demand in Europe, plus 4.4% according to our research. But again, perhaps what we have to say is that this increase was mainly due to a normal Q1 15 versus a very warm Q1 14. So what we are saying is this recovery in gas demand is mostly weather driven. On the supply side, we've seen record level of Norwegian and Russian gas. We've seen some growth on LNG supply, but when I say some, I would say little, i.e. less than 2% growth on the worldwide LNG supply, while in Europe we've seen more LNG coming into Europe because we had less of this re-exported.
Indeed. Now, those are some of the broad themes of last year. Across the board, 2016 has been pretty bumpy, it's safe to say, for all of the markets. But what are you expecting in 2016 from your point of view?
We are seeing a little bit more gas being used for power generation in the UK, and this is due to the fact that in the UK there is a carbon price support mechanism that is adding to the EU ETS, so therefore in the UK it is now more profitable to run a gas-fired power plant than a coal-fired power plant. And this will help some kind of growth, a little bit of growth for gas demand in 2016. But again, I have to remind you that this is only in the UK, it doesn't apply to the rest of Europe. The major news flow is going to happen in the coming weeks, which is a growth in LNG supply. As stated earlier, last year, 2% growth, and in the last few years, very little growth. In 2016, we should start to see something like 6% growth per annum, and this from 2016 to 2020 for the LNG worldwide supply. And the major news flow is going to be US LNG being exported in March, and so therefore we are really going to see that the US shale gas revolution, that was a local revolution in the US, is going to be spreading all over the world, not with shale gas being produced anywhere else, but by US LNG being transported to different places, mainly Europe or Asia.
Okay, wow, that does sound very interesting. But with oil prices going down, as you mentioned, and this extra LNG supply, the only question really left is price. What is your outlook, Thierry?
We are going to see US LNG starting to be exported and mostly arriving into Europe. The interesting thing is this US LNG, the cost of this US LNG, the full cost is above the price today in the European hubs. This means that some stakeholder in this chain, in this gas chain, will lose money. But again, the US LNG will start and will be exported in Europe as long as the price in Europe covers for the marginal cost of producing this US LNG. So then the question is, what are Russia and Norway doing, the two major supply of gas in Europe? Either they swings the supply as they did in the past years to try to make sure that that there is a floor to this price, that prices in Europe do not go below the floor. We now think the floor is around $4.5 per million BTU. This is our base case scenario, but interestingly enough, you can have a plan B, which is that Russia is willing to engage into a price war, that Russia is willing to flood the market to make sure that this US LNG is not being produced, not being exported into Europe, and this will lead to prices below $4 per million BTU. We don't think this is a Russia strategy. Again, there is no US LNG right now, so we have to wait a few more months. But again, no, we don't think it is a Russian strategy. It makes no sense to do this for so little in terms of volumes. Interestingly enough, and I'd like to finish with this, we've seen in the past months the power of OPEC being destroyed by the US shale oil revolution. And this power has been destroyed even before the US exported or decided to allow exports from WTI. The power of the duopoly in gas, which is Russia and Norway, has been able to survive the US shale gas revolution that has been local, as I said, so far. We still think it's going to be able to survive those US LNG export, but again, this revolution, this US is going to spread as a worldwide revolution, and I think we are now entering uncharted waters. But again, we still think that Norway and Russia will swing supply to be able to maintain prices in Europe at a level they are happy with, which is above $4.5 per million BTU in our base case scenario.
Okay, well, Thierry, thank you so much. A lot of really exciting things to look out for one way or another. Thank you for taking the opportunity to share them with us. We really do appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Monica, and see you later in 2016.
Okay, well, that's all from Thierry and myself for the moment, but make sure you keep clicking back to Dukascopy TV. Goodbye.